Hello from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Today we're going to look at 6 things from Deuteronomy 7 and 8. Now remember, Deuteronomy is just kind of Moses is right in front of the promised land, teaching the new generation what to do as they go in and helping them remember the things that their fathers and mothers faced in the wilderness. So that's number 1. He's reminding them their job coming in. They need to utterly destroy these 7 nations that are in the land. They've got to destroy the people. They've got to destroy the temples. And the whole point is, 1, these people are sinful. They're serving false gods. They're doing all sorts of sin. And so they need to destroy the people and the temples and the gear so they don't get sucked into that lifestyle. And the question for us in modernity is, are we destroying out of our lives those things that will suck us into lifestyles that aren't pleasing to God? I think it's Galatians chapter 5 says that we need to crucify our sins. Are we taking it seriously? Are we chopping our hand off so that we can follow God? Check it out. Number 2, why are they supposed to do that? Because they're holy to God. They're set apart. God chose them to make his story known through the nations. And if they don't follow God, then it is a bad reflection. When people look at followers of God, they should be able to see the godly attributes. Is that true for us? Number 3, if you do what God asked, you will receive blessings, Moses is saying. That doesn't always mean money. Sometimes it's protection in life. Sometimes it's, favor and things. We always think money in America, but this is saying, I will bless you and take care of you if you follow me. So they need to follow God. Number 4, don't be afraid. These nations are mighty. They're powerful. There are more people than you have. These are great nations, but God is saying, I took you out of Egypt, and through God's arm, through God's might, they were able to be successful. So that is going to happen again. Moses is telling them, God is promising that he'll drive these great nations out in front of you. So don't be afraid. Number 5, he reminds them that God will take care of you. Okay, this is a new situation, new things are happening. But remember, your fathers ate manna in the wilderness when there was no food. They didn't have water, so God gave them water from a rock. Their clothes didn't run out, their feet didn't swell, their shoes didn't wear out. What more do you need? God miraculously provided for these people, so don't fear, it's going to happen again. Do we have that attitude today that God is going to take care of us no matter what? Or are we relying on the almighty dollar to provide for our needs? Number 6, beware that you don't forget about God. Okay, he's warning these Israelites, okay, check this out. Right now we're following God, but when you get in the land and you have food, that you grew on your farm, and you have clothes that you've made from the materials you've grown, and you start getting land and profitability and all these things, beware that you not forget God, because material success can lead you to forget the true source of this blessing, and that's God. Well, let's check it out. America, we need to check it out because we have the same problem. We are so materially wealthy that it's clear that our nation is starting to forget God. Think about it. Chapter 7. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy to them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give to his son, or his son, or nor his daughter shalt thou take for thy son, for they will turn thee away from thy son, from following me, that they may serve other gods. So the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, break down their images, cut down their groves, burn their graven images with fire. Why? Because thou art a holy people for the Lord. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people upon thee himself, above all the people that are on the face of the earth. The Lord chose to set his love upon you. He did not choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn to your fathers, hath the mighty Lord brought out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of the bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and repayeth them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him. He will repay him to his face. I don't think I want God to repay me to my face. I would rather have the blessings. Thank you very much. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I commanded thee to this day, to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments, and keep all and do them, that the Lord thy God shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto thy fathers. And he will love thee, and bless thee, and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruit of thy womb, and the fruit of thy land, thy corn, thy wine, and thine oil, the increase of thy kine, and thy flocks, and thy sheep, in the land he sware to give his fathers. Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be a male or female barren among you, or among your cattle. And the Lord shall take away from thee all the sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt which thou knowest upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee. And thou shalt consume all these people, which thy Lord thy God shall deliver to thee. Thine eye shall have no pity on them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for they will be a snare unto you. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but shalt well remember that the Lord thy God did unto Pharaoh, unto all Egypt, the great temptation which thine eyes saw, and the signs, and the wonders, and the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm, whereby the Lord thy God brought thee out. So shall the Lord thy God do to all the people whom thou art afraid. Moreover, the Lord thy God will send the hornet among them until they are left, and hide themselves from thee, and be destroyed. Thou shalt not be affrighted of them, for the Lord thy God is among you, a mighty God and terrible, meaning scary. And the Lord thy God will put those nations out before thee little by little, that thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the fields increase upon thee. But the Lord thy God shall deliver them unto thee, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction, until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver thy kings into thine hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall be no man able to stand before thee, until thou have destroyed them. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein, for it is an abomination to thy God. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thy house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. Chapter 8. All the commandments which I command you to do this day, ye shall observe to do, that you may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, and to prove thee, to know that it was in thine heart, whether thou wouldst keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. Thy raiments wax not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell for 40 years. Can you imagine? Their garments, 40 years, had no problems at all. They didn't run out of clothes. Thou shalt also consider in thy heart that a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord chasteneth thee. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains, and depths of springs, out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees, pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, and thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. So it's got all the great food in it. Your cattle are going to be fine. You're also going to find in that land brass and iron, wherewith you could work tools. Wow. When thou hast eaten and thou art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou not forget the Lord thy God in not keeping his judgments and commandments and his statutes, which I have commanded thee to this day, lest thou, when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses to dwell within, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all thou hast are multiplied, then thy heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the land of bondage. Who led thee through the great wilderness, wherein the fiery serpents and scorpions, and drought, when there was no water? Who brought thee forth water out of a rock of flint? Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, that he might prove thee to do good at thy latter end? And thou say in thy heart, my power and might of mine hand hath gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware to his fathers, as it is to this day. And it shall be, if you forget the Lord thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day, ye shall surely perish. As the nations which the Lord destroyeth before your face, so shall you perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. Now, America, listen up. Why should our story be any different than God's chosen nation? The truth is, every single nation that turns its back on God cannot last. They cannot retain the blessings of God. He's promised it right there. If we don't worship God, we will have judgment. Well, we need to get with it. Thanks for joining me. We'll catch you next time.